Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody. We are recording this session, so anyone who can't attend, won't have the opportunity to ask any questions, but they will have the chance to get to meet our wonderful author, Darren Farrell. We're so excited about Everybody Loves Cats versus Pickles. And the book is now available on Amazon and Target and Walmart.com and in bookstores all over. And we are just really so pleased with this product. As you know, when we launched Cats versus Pickles, golly, it's been 3 years now. We had, we created these endearing characters, and it's a wonderful story about acceptance and inclusivity, because no one really knows why cats are afraid of pickles, and they just simply are. We decided that perhaps it was because the pickles are misunderstood. They really want to be friends with the cats. And so that's something that's been very relatable. We understand that, everybody at some point in their life has been a pickle themselves. So we just kind of went with that premise, and discovering the truth about this relationship between cats versus pickles, we thought it would make a great storybook. As a matter of fact, we have a series of stories that will be coming out that we'll talk about later. But first, I wanted to introduce our wonderful award-winning author who has been so gracious to read today a little bit from the book, not the whole thing, because we don't want to spoil the surprise for everybody. And then also after, we'll be opening up the opportunity for people to win a signed copy of the book. So we're very excited about that. So without any further ado, let me introduce Darren Farrell. And Darren, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Laura. This has been such a fun project. All these characters are just so cute, and it's just so much fun to create these little stories where you've got these very innocent pickles that just want to be friends with these kitties, and how freaked out the cats get when they realize there's a pickle nearby. And so I thought today, like, we'll read one of the stories. So we decided to put 3 little stories into each book, plus a couple of little history fun facts that I'll kind of walk through the book, and then I'm going to read the final story in this first book because it's a lot of fun. And do you want me to go ahead and just jump into that?
Let's go ahead and jump into it, and we'll take some questions later after we read a bit. So let's go.
Yeah, so my name is Darren Farrell. I'm an author. Sometimes I'm an illustrator, but I had the pleasure of working with Gabriel Tafuni on this book, and his art is just incredible. Like, the characters and all the backgrounds, there's so many rich colors, and it's just been a joy to kind of see, like, I'll write the manuscript, and I'll have some idea of how the story might unfold, but to see his art has been really, really fun. And so we created this little place called Catsburg, where all of the cats live, and the end papers are kind of like this little map of Catsburg, so you can kind of see where some of the houses and people are. And like Laura said, we have a little giveaway, and so I put a little "Touched by an Author" sticker in each book, and I signed them, and there's this really cool postcard from Catsburg as you walk into the book. But we thought it would be really fun to give a little history lesson about cats and pickles. Like, where did this come from? Why is there this kind of fear among cats about pickles, and how far back does it go? And we sort of thought it goes all the way back to cave pickles and saber-toothed cats, and it's just always been a thing all the way back to the beginning of time. That's still happening today, with cats being so afraid of pickles. But there's just so much love for these cute little pickles, have so much love for these cats, and they just want to be friends. Can you blame them? Then the cats are beautiful and fluffy, and there's so many cool cats to be friends with. And then after that little introduction, we've got a little "Did you know" about a lumber cat climbing Mount Everest. So we put some little fun facts, some historical fun facts in there. Our second story is a little surf competition that's really fun, has a little surprise pickle at the end. But the cat does come out on top and wins a little prize. Not to spoiler alert. But and then there's a really fun George washing self fun fact that you can read about. There's a little Cats versus Pickles history lesson that we like to kind of build into each book. But the story that I want to read is called Cat Carnival. And I'm going to actually pull up the PDF so everyone can see it really well. I'm going to share my screen.
I love this story.
This is a fun one because it gives us an opportunity to kind of like get into how funny the Pickles can be when they misspell things on different signs, and how creative these Pickles are, that they can sort of like build these little worlds that might trick the cats into a scenario where they can become friends. And so we thought it'd be really fun for the Pickles to put on a cat carnival, and it would give them the chance to misspell some of these like little signs for tickets and throwing. But like the idea that the Pickles are all dressed up and they've kind of built this homemade carnival that these cats are going to be so excited to attend. And so here we are at our cat carnival. Hopefully everybody can see this. So we always have this announcer that's kind of speaking to us, the reader, and also can speak to the Pickles and the cats. So who can resist a good cat carnival? And it looks really fun. Wait, is that how you spell cat carnival? What is going on here? Oh, I think I see what's happening. Not bad, Pickles, not bad at all. What a wonderful way to show the cats how much you care. You just get to see all of these happy, innocent Pickles looking so expectant as they wait for the cats to arrive at this cat carnival. They are going to be so happy. We have a Duncan booth. I just love all the ways that the Pickles misspell things. And we've got Pickles juggling and all sorts of little clown Pickles and the pickle floating balloon salesman. We've got a haunted house, which is appropriate for what's coming up soon on Halloween. Those cats will never spot you in your clever disguises. I think it's lucky that we can recognize these are Pickles. The disguises are so good and amazing. And I love the Pickle Dracula here on the haunted house with his fangs. Look, here they come now. This carnival is a huge hit. So we have a huge line of cats just pouring into the cat carnival. And the biggest part, the most popular part of this cat carnival is the kissing booth. So especially the kissing booth. And I like that we have kissing booth written here. Who can resist the unstoppable cuteness of Bradley Sweet Hunk? He's a sweet hunk of sweet pickle. He looks so handsome. Look at that line. Bradley Sweet Hunk, you're a genius. Oh, get those sweet pickly lips ready. Look at everyone lined up for the kissing booth. Here comes your very first customer now. My goodness. Will Pickles and cats finally be friends? Maybe we've achieved world peace. Will we achieve world peace? I don't know. Let's see what happens when we turn the page. Uh-oh. That's not good. Who let Kitty Narwhal into the Duncan booth? Especially when touchdown is pitching. So we've set ourselves up for a big disaster here. Come on, Pickles! Not smart at all! We have a bonk and a kerthunk and a giant skadoosh. And we see that Bradley Sweet Hunk's disguise gets washed off. Hank! It was you all along! You really had me fooled! So it's Hank Pickle underneath that disguise. I thought you were Bradley Sweet Hunk! We see all of the cats freaking out and running away and just trying to get out of there as fast as they can. Oh well. Better luck next time, Pickles. We have our sad Pickles here. But one thing that I always love is the Pickles never get too discouraged because there is always tomorrow. They're always imagining that tomorrow the cats are going to come to their senses and be friends with them. So there's always hope. And it's such a hopeful story about friendship and just that never-ending pursuit of finding a good friend. And that is the end of our third little story here in this book.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's so cute. One of the things I love about it, it's such an endearing tale, but it's also, you know, nobody's mean. You know, the cats are a little weary and they're a little, you know, standoffish, but nobody's mean to one another. It's really a kind story.
Because the Pickles just want to be friends, and you know they can't help it if the cats don't understand quite yet. Um, and so yeah, it creates all these really fun scenarios where you can kind of touch on friendship and get close to friendship, and then maybe tomorrow.
Well, I'm wondering, does anybody have any questions? We'll just kind of take this moment to ask Darren a couple of questions. And then I'm wondering if maybe you can just, I do love that little historical one about George washing himself. And if you could just throw out a couple of those historical facts that are really fun, because we have 3 or 4 of these within each book that just is you know, gets back to that historical relationship of both the origin story of cats and pickles.
Yeah, let me just scroll back to that. And it's so much fun. It's so funny, and I had so much fun writing this part of it.
Yeah.
So so if you look really carefully, we have these did you know sections. And so, you know, one of them is in this book. It says the first president of Cattsburg was George Washingself. So we see him washing himself in the bathtub. Double, he's like washing himself squared. George washed himself all the time. He's so sparkly clean here. He was the cleanest cat in all of Cattsburg. And so one night, George was washing himself at the front of a rowboat as he and his friends made their way across the Delaware River to hiss at some other cats. So we see him on his boat washing himself. Well, when they arrived at the other side of the river, before they could do any hissing at all, a kindly pickle named Cuke, standing here waiting for them, asked if they wanted help securing their boat to the dock. George and his friends shot back across the Delaware River quick as lightning and decided to hiss at those cats another day. And that is how George Washingself almost crossed the Delaware. These were such a fun part to write, where you kind of create a little history, you know, a little American history and a little Cattsburg history mixed together. And so, you know, it's like we may go to climb the tallest mountain in the world, or we may, you know, that we can kind of pull from history all over the world and mix it with Cattsburg, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's just tremendous fun. Thank you so much. So we have a couple of questions. Well, actually, one person, Lynn, came out and said, no questions. I just love the story. And so that's really great. And then another fan asked, what's your favorite part of the book?
My favorite part of the book, I love the theme of friendship, and that theme of, like, especially never giving up on friendship. So like thematically, I like that part of the book where it's like, you have these pickles and they just want to share the love and friendship. And even though they may get a no here and there, they're never going to give up, and they're always going to kind of work at it until they become best friends with these cats. But the part that was really fun to write, I just read. I love the, like, George Washington. It's just a fun little nod to real life, but mixed with our cats and pickles. And so those were a lot of fun. But like all of the stories are fun in their own way, and we're, you know, each time we're kind of creating one of these stories, we're picking a theme and trying to kind of theme all 3 of the stories in the book along a similar kind of trajectory. And so it's kind of fun to pick a theme. Maybe we pick fall, or maybe it's you know, just kind of friendship, and explore it using these characters. And there are just, what I also love is there are just so many different cats and pickles, all with their own little bitty personalities. And so those are kind of fun to explore, and how the pickles and the cats kind of like might fit together in unique combinations. So it's just like such a fun world to play in.
It is, and I love, and anybody who has a cat, and we've got a lot of cat lovers on here as well as pickle lovers. But anyone who has a cat knows that they're always washing themselves. So that kind of play on words is really funny. And we all love puns. That's a big part of the brand as well. And so there's lots of those in there. So I think we have kind of opened Pandora's box, because we've got lots of people asking if there will be a George washing self being sometime in the future. So we'll have to go back to the team and we'll ask about that. Another person is saying that they can't wait to read the book and they want to know if there'll be more.
There will be more. More are on the way, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, so we do have some more. As a matter of fact, a bit of exciting news. We do have activity books that are coming out, and those will be out relatively soon. They'll be out this fall, and those have stickers and different kind of activities and coloring. But then we have another storybook, and I think many of you had tuned in to Santa.com last year, and you saw the cat vent calendar where we had 25 different episodes. And so Darren actually read those and wrote that. And so we
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so we love that. And so we turned that into a book. So that will be a storybook as well, and that will be available soon. But beyond that, we will have more that we'll be announcing in a major announcement. So everybody will have the opportunity to get more books in their library. Okay, this is a common question, and it's a hard one. Are you team cat or are you team pickle?
I spent 7 years in Seoul, South Korea. And in Seoul, South Korea, pickles came with every food you ever ordered came with lots of different things, pickles. So like if you ordered pizza, it came with pickles. If you had anything, every dish came. So I think I'm team pickle. And as you can tell by the thematic element that I'm drawn to, just this never-ending quest for friendship and sharing friendship, that is probably the pickle point of view that I'm taking there. And so I think I'm team pickle, but I love all the cats. I love the variety of cats. Like the creative design side of my brain loves looking at all the different cats and reading their names. And I think that's so much fun.
That's a great answer. Now, all right, here's another question. And this one is, now there's no promises that we would be able to create this, but it is an interesting question. If you could create your own cat or pickle, what would it be?
That's an interest. I wonder, could you create, I think it would be interesting to have a line of cats that are mimicking other animals, maybe like a zoo line. Like, could there be a giraffe cat or a lion?
Yeah.
That could be fun. I personally, the ones that are already out, I love the ones that are sort of like food related. So like, those always make me hungry, but you already have plenty of those. So that could be a fun, or maybe like famous artist cats. Like you could do
Now
like,
we do have Vincent Van Meow.
yeah, okay,
He has
yes.
one ear, so that is kind of famous, but that's a great idea. And then we have another person who is saying that Kitty Narwhal in the dunk tank made me laugh out loud. So that that is good, especially when they're, oh, and your voice as the narrator, really provides a great kind of perspective on what's going on and how sometimes even these best laid plans have a tendency to go awry.
Yeah, because I sort of wrote myself into each book where I feel like I'm talking. If I were in this scenario, I would be talking to the pickles and the cats this way, like, what are you doing? Don't do that.
That's great. It's kind of like, how we all do it, especially if we're watching a horror movie or something. No, don't go in there. Very fun. And so, what inspired you to write this book? Another fan wants to know.
So I was inspired by that idea of like the ingenuity of the pickles, trying to find different ways to silently, because they don't really do very much talking. How can they silently insert themselves into the lives of these cats without, they can't really announce their arrival or the cats will all run away. So, it's like a fun creative puzzle to kind of figure out like how can you showcase the ingenuity of the Pickles and put them in a scenario where they could be sharing their love and friendship with these cats, and then in a way that they might hope something positive would come out of it, and then have that all just sort of like blow up in their face, and the cats kind of like always get scared and freaked out. So that the inspiration of like figuring out those puzzle pieces and talking about the themes that we want to try and focus on was really fun.
That's great. And then another fan wants to know, do you have a favorite character in the book?
In the book, my favorite character, let's see. I mean, I love the I love the our little cave pickle here, and the idea that there might be a saber-toothed cat from a long time ago is fun. We really did work a ton of our Argyle, and I liked, so we have in our surfing.
Oh, that's a great story. I love that all the cats are cheering on their friend. So,
and yeah, like the idea that you could have this cool, I like Aloha Cat, like it's such a like cool
great
guy
job.
on his surfboard.
Yeah.
So I like that, and the idea that there's a groovy, pickle that kind of matches with him. So
Yes.
it was kind of fun to kind of find groovy cat and like a groovy pickle that could kind of match.
Yep.
Those are probably my two favorite, like, because they're a pair, I really liked working with them. So Groovy Gill and Groovy Cat being like a pair that kind of goes together. They were fun to write a story where they could bring their grooviness together, or attempt to, So those are probably my two. That's like my favorite because they're a duo.
That's awesome. I love it. So we have another friend who is asking, will we ever see books with the rest of the Versus world? And another person is also adding, will we add a Kittens versus Gherkins book? So that's kind of related. So, I think that is definitely a great question. And I will go ahead and then jump in on that, because yes, the Versus world is what makes the Versus world so fun is that it allows us to discover friendships in the most unusual and unlikely places, cows versus aliens, for instance. And so we have lots of opportunity for storytelling. And another person is saying, can you please turn these into a TV show? Well, we can't talk about anything just yet, but I think that's a fantastic idea. That's all I'll say about that one. So stay tuned. Well, and then the very last question, where can I buy this book? So we mentioned at the very beginning of this, Everybody Loves Cats versus Pickles is available now online and will be arriving in stores quite soon. Online, you can get us on Amazon, Target.com, Walmart.com, and then soon we'll be in bookstores just pretty much everywhere. We have our good partners at Books A Million and Barnes and Noble. So we're looking forward to getting our books out there. And certainly if you don't see the book anywhere, feel free to ask your bookstore manager if they can get it for you. And they're always incredibly helpful. And, it's always a good idea. We'll be sending some of these books out to different schools for their school libraries. And so it's always a good idea to, donate a book after you're finished with it to a library. So we're just excited about getting our first book out there. And, Darren, we want to thank you so much for lending your talents to our characters. You've really helped them come alive in such a special way, because they're special to everybody who's on this webinar today, and everyone in our company is so grateful for your kind care that you've given to them, bringing them to life for us, and especially today taking the time to read. So I think that's all we have today.